Hello everyone, in this video I'll be talking about the project work for the subject of economics for the session 2021-22 and I hope this will be helpful for you. Now, objectives of project work. The first objective is connect classroom teaching with the real life world. Now see, the whole purpose of our education will only be successful if students are able to link up theoretical concepts taught in the class to the outside world, right? Now, if the concepts are clear and crystal, only then the students will be able to relate their classroom teaching with the real life world, otherwise not, right? Hence the project work is a bridge that connects the theoretical understanding of the students to the outside world, to the real life examples, right? So that is the one of the objective of project work, to link what all they are learning inside the classrooms to the real life examples of the world. The second one is to develop critical and creative thinking skills. Now, the need of an hour is to develop thinking capabilities of a child, rather than a child responding with some standardized conventional answers. So they really need to explore creative solutions. For example, you ask your students that if you are in a time machine and get transported 20 years into the future, what skills would you require to add to your CV, right? So now students will think about the kind of jobs that will be prevalent in, after 20 years, and what skills will I be needing, right? And then they will trigger their mental nerves and then they'll think about it, right? So you tend to, you keep on asking such questions that will, develop thinking capabilities of a child. Third is to catch up with the learner's interest. See, everybody has an interest. I have an interest, you might also be having one interest. Somebody likes micro, somebody likes macro, somebody likes, Indian economy. Some teachers have a hold on Indian economy while some teachers have a hold on macro. Everybody have their interest. Similarly, students also have their particular interest. So we really need to guide them on how they can follow their interest, right? And we can motivate them to start working. We need to motivate them to start working on their chosen field of interest. That's very, very important, right? The fourth thing is to develop communication skills. Today we see that communication is an underrated skill. We don't understand the importance of this lifelong learning skill. Students seriously lack soft skills, and this can have serious impact in their future as well. So despite having right hard skills for the job, they are left behind. And why is that so? Because they lack in good communication skills. So we really need to follow this new LOL. I know the old LOL is laugh out loud, but we really need to follow this new LOL, which is listen, observe and learn, right? So mind you, listening is also a skill, and you listen properly, then you act on the feedback received from your teachers, right? And then you make mistakes. That is important. See, failure is a part of life. Making mistakes is very, very important. This is how you learn, but don't repeat your mistakes, right? So that is why you tend to take feedback from your teachers, right? So that you don't repeat that mistake again. So learn from your mistakes and then accelerate your growth, right? So hence we really need to work for the holistic development of a child. So that are the major objectives of the project work. Now, what is the role of a teacher? Now we really need to play the role of a facilitator. That's very, very important. Now students need our support at every stage of the project. Now they'll be needing help in how to select the title of the project work, and how to derive to a conclusion. So there are a lot of things in which students might take your help, so be ready for it. Secondly, you need to guide the research work in terms of sources of data. Students might have already studied about primary source of data and secondary source of data in their class 11th, right? So they really you have to actually implement that now in your research work. We need to guide them. Third is we need to ensure that students understand the importance of primary evidence for their investigation. So you need to motivate them to go on the field, right? Go on the field and survey it. That's the real research work. Also, it will boost up their confidence. See, if they'll step out and they'll ask questions, they'll take out their questionnaires or schedules, and they'll interact with people, so they'll also build up confidence. So that will make that is what we aim for, right? We aim for overall development of our kids. So we want them, so primarily, like, motivate them to just go for primary evidence. Of course, secondary evidence can also be done, but keep your prime focus on primary evidence. This will also improve their soft skills. This will also boost up their public confidence. That is important. Then you also need to help students to derive a conclusion, because this is the first time they are young and they'll be doing this research project. So you really need to help them that how you're supposed to write a conclusion based on the analysis of your data. The next point is to educate learner about plagiarism. Now this is very, very important. Now what is plagiarism? See, supposedly you're writing a paper, right, and you copied some sentence from some another paper, right, and you copied it. आपने बस उसको copy किया और उसको लिख लिया, right, but आपने उसको quote नहीं किया, आपने उसको cite नहीं किया, आपने ये नहीं बताया कि मैंने ये वाली line इस article से उठाई है, राइट अगर आप ऐसे कॉपी करके लिखते हो उसको बोलते हैं प्लेजरिज्म, राइट. बट on the other hand, if you have copied it but you have cited it, that ठीक है, I have taken this line from this article, then you're safe, right? So you have to avoid plagiarism. You're not supposed to copy it directly. It should be your authentic work. It should be your original work. That's very important. Second, the next thing is that you need to present your project file. I request all the teachers to motivate your students and in fact make it mandatory that they make a PowerPoint presentation. This is very, very important because this will actually enhance their soft skills. They'll know how to, in fact make a PowerPoint presentation. They'll learn some technical skills. They'll learn how to speak up in public. So that's very important. Now this was your role as a teacher. Now we all know about the steps which are involved in the conduct of the project work. We choose a title, then we collect data. This is all we have done in statistics. Then we organize data, we present our data, we analyze it, we draw conclusions, and then we finally present it. This we all know. Then what are the changes now? So there will be only one project which is to be done throughout the session. आपको एक ही project करना है. Now you can see some beautiful words here. You can see a word called synopsis. This is something which is new for you. Data collection, you've done this in class 11th. Data analysis, interpretation, conclusion, right? We'll be talking about synopsis in subsequent slides. Then the aspects of the project work is to be covered under two terms, term 1 and term 2. And we know that theory is of 80 marks and project work is of 20 marks, right? So now they have bifurcated, CBSE has bifurcated this 20 marks in two terms, right? We'll see how. So this is our table. I'll just show you. See, in July to September, you will be making a synopsis, right? And then teacher will be assessing you on the basis of your synopsis. In your synopsis, you'll include introduction, objectives, review of literature. What are these? We will study in subsequent slides. And when you'll submit your synopsis, you'll get 5 marks. Similarly, in October to November, you'll be collecting data, right? You'll be going for collection of data. And while you collect your data, of course, you'll be facing some challenges. There will be a lot of challenges. जब आप data collect करने जाओगे, कुछ ना कुछ problems आपको आएंगी. वो जो भी problems होंगी, वो आपको pen down करनी है. You have to write it down, right? And that you have to include. So that will again be awarded. You'll be again be awarded for data collection and the challenges you faced when you'll write it down. And for that, you'll be awarded 5 marks. Then in October to November, there will be an mid-term assessment by your internal examiner. So 5 plus 5 makes it 10. So for term 1, you'll be awarded 10 marks. For term 2, you'll be awarded 10 marks. Again, how? Let's see. So in December to January, since you have collected your data in the previous months, now you will be analyzing that data. You'll be coming to a conclusion. You'll write your bibliography. You'll write the annexures, right? And then your teacher will be assessing it, and then for that you'll be getting 5 marks. Similarly, for Jan to Feb, from Jan to February, you'll be having a viva, right? And also you'll be presenting your PPT. For that you'll be getting 5 marks. So Viva is of 5 marks, while your file will be of 15 marks. So that makes up 20 marks, right? So I hope this is clear. Now that's the main slide. Now let's understand this. What work am I supposed to do? This is the work you're supposed to do. From July to September, you will be preparing a synopsis, right? And for that, teacher will be marking you 5 marks. What you will include in your synopsis? What is the meaning of synopsis? Let's understand. So synopsis is a plan of your research work. Obviously आपने सोच लिया कि मेरे को इस टॉपिक पे काम करना है. अब आप इसके लिए प्लान करोगे, yeah, right? You'll plan that, okay, now these are my objectives, this is how I will collect my data, this is how I will analyze it, I'll use bar graphs, I'll use pie charts, this is how I conclude it. So you must be having some mental image of your project work. That is to be done in the synopsis. You will write down the plan of action, right, which you will conducting in your research. So basically these are the steps to follow to achieve your objectives. So what are the elements of synopsis? What you will add in it, what you will submit in July to September. So first of all, the first page will be title page. In that page you will be including title of the project, your name, your roll number. Then I request teachers to write name of the facilitator and write your name, right? Because now since you're not a regulator but now you're a facilitator, just don't write teacher's name and write your name. Just you change it, you write name of the facilitator since you're playing the role of a facilitator, and write your name, and then you put a KBS logo, of course. Then this will be your first page of synopsis. Then let's go for the introduction part. Now this introduction section will consist of 3 to 4 paragraphs. Students will write about 3 to 4 paragraphs, and what will they include? In the first paragraph they'll write about their topic and some background information about the topic. In the second one they'll write why they have chosen this topic, why only this topic, right? And then they'll also write about the significance of their topic, right? So this is how you will write a synopsis. Let's come to the other elements. Then you will write a review of literature. Now what is review of literature? The term itself is explaining its meaning. कह रहा है review of literature, जो literature already है उसको review करना है. So of course supposedly मैं कोई project कर रही हूँ demonetization पे, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि खाली मैं ही कर रही हूँ, काफ़ी लोगों ने पहले से ही इस पर कुछ ना कुछ रिसर्च किया होगा, राइट? सो दैट लिटरेचर जो बाकी लोगों ने किया हुआ है आप उसको थोड़ा रिव्यू करोगे. आप देखोगे बाकी लोगों ने आपके टॉपिक पे क्या क्या काम किया है और वो बातें आप रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर के अंडर लिखते हो. So this is the work done by other researchers on the same topic, and what you can do is you can write around 4 to 5 previous studies that relate to your research problem. कुछ 4 to 5 papers आप पढ़िए जो आपके टॉपिक से रिलेटेड है और उसका एक ब्रीफ समरी एक पैराग्राफ में डाल दीजिए. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल इस ईयर में इस ऑथर ने डीमोनेटाइजेशन पे काम किया था, उसने ऐसा मेथड यूज़ किया था, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर उसने क्वेश्चनर यूज़ किया या जो भी यूज़ किया है और उसका ये रिजल्ट निकला था. फिर दूसरे पैराग्राफ में किसी और ऑथर के बारे में बताओ कि उस ऑथर ने डीमोनेटाइजेशन के ऊपर ये पढ़ा था, उसके रिजल्ट्स ये थे. सो अराउंड 4 to 5 previous studies you'll write it down in the review of literature. Now you can find literature from Google Scholar. Now this is a very important site. You simply go to Google, you type Google Scholar, click on the first link and you type any topic, say for example impact of COVID-19 on education. You'll find only articles related to that topic. See, अगर आप normal Google में जाते हो, सर्च इंजन पे जाते हो और अगर आप ये करते हो तो काफ़ी चीज़ें आ जाती हैं, न्यूज़पेपर आर्टिकल्स भी आते हैं, उससे रिलेटेड बुक्स भी आ जाती हैं, बहुत कुछ आ जाता है, बहुत अलग चीज़ें भी आती हैं. बट गूगल स्कॉलर इज़ ओनली एंड ओनली मेंट फॉर रिसर्च, राइट? सो ट्राई दिस आउट. Go to the Google search engine, type Google Scholar, click on the first link and write down your topic and you'll get a lot of articles on it, right? After the review of literature, you'll mention objectives. Obviously, this section will describe what students expect to achieve by their project. क्या objective है उनका, वो they'll write this in this section. Then methodology. What method you will be choosing? आप कौन सा डेटा कलेक्शन मेथड चूज़ करोगे, आप कैसे एनालाइज करोगे अपना डेटा. अगर आप कोई सैम्पलिंग मेथड यूज़ कर रहे हो, वो सारी चीज़ें आपको इसके अंदर डालनी है. आपने कुछ सोचा होगा, आपने कुछ प्लान किया होगा कि आप कैसे कलेक्ट करोगे डेटा, कैसे एनालाइज करोगे. जो भी आपके दिमाग में वो मेंटल इमेज है, जो भी आपने प्लान किया हुआ है, यू विल राइट दिस डाउन अंडर मेथडोलॉजी सेक्शन. Then you will go for data sources. Now we all know that there are two sources of data, primary और secondary sources of data. अब देखो जहाँ से भी आप information लोगे, right, of course either you will be going on the field, right, or you will be sitting in your homes and you'll be digging out data from various websites. से फॉर एग्जांपल आप RBI की ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट से जाके निकाल रहे हो, या आप नीति आयोग की वेबसाइट से निकाल रहे हो, या आपने इकोनॉमिक सर्वे खोला हुआ है. सो देर आर लॉट ऑफ सोर्सेज फ्रॉम वेयर यू गेट डेटा. So you have to mention that you've taken data from this source, right? So that is what you'll include in this section, and after that you'll write your references. Obviously you've written an introduction, you have reviewed literature, तो आपने बहुत सारे चीज़ों को रेफ़र किया होगा, आपने बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स पढ़े होंगे. जो भी चीज़ें आपने जिससे भी रेफ़र किया है वो सब कुछ रेफरेंसेस में डालना है. और अगर आप वो रेफरेंसेस में नहीं डालोगे, you know that you'll be caught in plagiarism. Plagiarism नहीं करना. We don't need to copy. जहाँ से भी हमने चीज़ें ली हैं हमने उसको acknowledge करना है. Alright, that's very important. Now another section, limitations will also be added, but इसके ऊपर काम आप next months में करोगे, which is October to November, right? That I'll show you. Now October to November में what are we supposed to do? We are only supposed to collect data, right? Supposedly you've prepared a sample questionnaire, you've done a pilot study. Now आप जितना भी आपका sample है, supposedly आपका 50 लोगों का sample है, and then you'll distribute that questionnaire to 50 people, right? So in the given 2 months you will be collecting data from relevant sources. You can even collect it from primary, secondary, or you can use both. See, I have highlighted primary because I want every one of you to go for a primary source of data because of the reasons cited before. Also, I have explained that also, that while you collect data you will be facing certain difficulties. You have to write those difficulties under the limitation section, right? In this period students will now be in a better position to write the significance or relevance of their project work. जो introduction का last paragraph है उसमें आपको significance लिखना है अपने topic का, क्योंकि अब आप इतना time गुजार चुके हो, आपने collect कर लिया है data, आपको थोड़ा significance समझ आ जाएगा, right? कि मेरे project का importance क्या है. That you will include in the last paragraphs of your introduction section. और limitations भी आप फिर include कर दोगे अपने synopsis में, right? Now data thus collected will go under methodology section. अब हमने synopsis में एक methodology section लिखा था, उसके अंदर आप जितना भी आपने data collect किया, उसकी जितनी भी analysis हुई, वो सारा का सारा आप काम data methodology section के अंदर डालेंगे, right? एक चीज़ समझिए, प्रोजेक्ट एक ही है बट आपको काम टाइम टू टाइम टीचर्स को दिखाना है. से फॉर एग्जांपल यू विल सबमिट योर सिनॉप्सिस जैसा बताया इन ड्यूरिंग दैट मंथ 3 months. उसके बाद जो आप डेटा कलेक्ट करोगे और जो आप लिमिटेशंस करोगे फिर वो आप धीरे धीरे अपने सिनॉप्सिस में ऐड करते जाओगे. बट वो सेपरेट सिनॉप्सिस का मटेरियल आपको अपने पास रखना है. वो कैसे सेव करके रखना है वो मैं अभी आपको नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स में बताऊँगी. Now December to January, in the month of December to January you will go for data analysis and interpretation, because in the previous months you've already collected your data and you have already written down your limitations. Now you will be analyzing your data, right? Now you'll also analyze it and also you'll come out with a conclusion. You will also work on the annexures if any. अभी annexures क्या होता है? Annexures basically end में लगाया जाता है. यू जस्ट राइट ऑन द हेडिंग annexures, और उसके नीचे आप ऐसी चीज़ें लिखते हो जो आप मेन पेपर में नहीं ऐड कर सकते. फॉर एग्जांपल आपने बहुत सारे क्वेश्चनर्स कलेक्ट किए हुए हैं, सपोज 50 क्वेश्चनर्स कलेक्ट किए हुए हैं. अब आप वो मेन पेपर में नहीं डालोगे ना, आप अपने मेन प्रोजेक्ट में नहीं डालोगे, इतना बड़ा बन जाएगा. सो व्हाट यू डू इज़ जो चीज़ें रॉ हैं, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल क्वेश्चनर्स जिसमें अभी हमने एनालिसिस नहीं की, वो आप annexures में डाल देते हो. या फिर आपने कोई टेबल सोची थी, राइट, जो आप अंदर प्रोजेक्ट में नहीं डाल सकते, तो आप वो टेबल्स भी आप annexures में डाल सकते हो. सो annexures उस पर्पज़ के लिए होता है. सो इन द एंड स्टूडेंट्स विल राइट द बिब्लियोग्राफी लिखेंगे. अब मैंने सिनॉप्सिस में बोला था रेफरेंसेस लिखेंगे, अब जब मैं मेन प्रोजेक्ट में आ गई हूँ तो मैं बोल रही हूँ बिब्लियोग्राफी. तो क्या रेफरेंसेस और बिब्लियोग्राफी में इज़ देयर अ डिफरेंस? येस, देयर इज़ अ डिफरेंस. सो इन रेफरेंसेस यू इंक्लूड सोर्सेज दैट हैव बीन डायरेक्टली साइटेड इन द प्रोजेक्ट वर्क. जो भी आपने, सपोज मैंने एक लाइन वहाँ से उठाई है किसी पेपर से, राइट, और मैं उसको साइट करती हूँ तो वो रेफरेंसेस में आ जाएगा. बिब्लियोग्राफी लेकिन क्या है? वन मेंशंस ऑल द सोर्सेज दैट स्टूडेंट्स हैव यूज्ड इन देयर प्रोजेक्ट वर्क, in their research work, whether they are directly cited or not, right? So supposedly मैंने कोई द इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स का आर्टिकल पढ़ा या मैंने बहुत सारी बुक्स पढ़ी, राइट, मैंने वहाँ से कोई लाइन नहीं उठाई बट मैंने वो सब पढ़ा है इन ऑर्डर टू डू माई रिसर्च. सो व्हेन आई इंक्लूड ऑल दोज थिंग्स तब वो बिब्लियोग्राफी में आता है. सो बिब्लियोग्राफी इज़ अ बिगर टर्म एंड रेफरेंसेस इज़ अ स्मॉलर टर्म इन अ सेंस दैट बिब्लियोग्राफी में वो भी इंक्लूड हो रहा है जिसमें से मैं लाइन भी नहीं ले रही, राइट. आई जस्ट रेड दीज थिंग्स एंड जिसके करके आई हैव gain some information, knowledge, and which is why I'm doing this research, right? So bibliography is a broad term, references is a short term. Now in the month of February, students will be ready with their full project file along with the PPT or final presentation of their project work. As I have told teachers to take note, make sure that students make their PPT very important. Now we have to work with deadlines, right? So I have mentioned my deadlines. This is really flexible. Teachers can allocate their own deadlines because without deadlines, students don't work. So I have mentioned it. Supposedly, students have to submit synopsis in PDF form. Deadline is 28 September. Then they will present data and also they'll write the limitations. Deadline is 26 November. Then they will present presentation of the data analysis. They'll show it to us on 17th January. Last date is 17th January. Then the overall project they'll be giving to us on 24th January. Then the PowerPoint presentation that has to be decided because of course external examiner will come and then the schools will mutually decide the dates. Now what I have done is I've used Google Classroom. I hope now everybody knows about Google Classroom. So I have actually made a folder and regarding I've named a folder called Project Work 2021-22 and I've given these assignments, right? So what students will do, and those who use Google Classroom they know that there are this certain, suppose I give an assignment तो मैं उसका एक deadline डाल देती हूँ, राइट. सो उसी डेडलाइन के अंदर स्टूडेंट्स को अपलोड करना होता है, अटैच करना होता है अपना असाइनमेंट गूगल क्लासरूम पे. तो सपोजिटली मैंने सिनॉप्सिस का ऑलरेडी गूगल क्लासरूम में असाइनमेंट डाल दिया और डेडलाइन उसकी ऑलरेडी 28 सितंबर डाल दी है. सो स्टूडेंट्स विल जस्ट अटैच देयर वर्क by 28th September. Synopsis wala kaam they'll just attach it by 28th September and I have my data. See, CBSE can anytime ask for the proof. So you will have Google Classroom and you'll have all the data with you. Similarly, presentation of data collected and limitations also, they'll do their work and they'll upload it by 26th November on the Google Classroom. So that is a very good platform. I think Google Classroom, you keep Google Classroom with you, it's free of cost and you learn more about it using YouTube. So if students are making handwritten projects, see, students will come up with a lot of questions that ma'am or sir, do we have to write it down or can we type it down? So I have 2 points in it. So if students are making handwritten project, ask them to scan their project after signature of the teacher and then upload it on Google Classroom. And those students who are typing their project, they will directly upload their project file but after the signature. So what they'll do is they'll type the project, they'll take a printout, they'll take our signature and then scan it and then upload it on Google Classroom. So this is how we are supposed to work. Okay. Now I have cited some ideas because we really need to work hard because our kids are young, they don't know about the research work, they don't know from where to find data sources. So this is where we pitch in and we really need to give them ideas. So for that I have cited some sources. Say for example, there's this YouTube channel of Amit Sen Gupta. He's an ISO aspirant and he's talked about various Indian economy issues, so you can visit that. Then there's this Drishti IAS website where you can find a lot of economic issues which are happening and on which project work can be done. Then Google Scholar I've already mentioned. There's this Sci-Hub website where supposedly you want to open an article which you can't open using normal Google, so you just type that article on Sci-Hub and that article will be opened. Then we have Shodh Ganga. This is a website where you'll find all the Indian theses. So universities have actually uploaded their respective theses on this website, Shodh Ganga. Then we have RBI official website. A lot of data is available there for those students who are taking secondary source of data, and also they can also go for economic survey. That's also a very good source of data, economic survey. Then of course we have newspaper articles, and very, very important, we have NCERT textbooks. We actually underrate NCERTs, but I'm talking about higher classes. we actually ignore NCERT textbooks and we mostly go for these reference books, right? For example, C.V. Sachdeva and things like that. But mind you, NCERT textbook is a wonderful textbook, and I'll show you how you can find projects from NCERT only, right? I'll just show you in a moment. Now I've just suggested some of the topics. For example, these are my students, and I have given topics like, I have not given, in fact they came up, I just played a role of a facilitator and I gave them ideas. Now how I gave them ideas, I'll just tell you and then I'll come back to this slide. See how I help students in selecting topics for the project work. See, I have actually taken a help from NCERT textbook, from work these out section. In the NCERT textbooks you'll find this section. So instead of choosing fancy topics, see, we know the reality, we teachers know the ground reality. I feel पहले से ही बस एक दो टॉपिक्स ही चलते आ रहे हैं. सारे बच्चे क्या करते हैं, डीमोनेटाइजेशन, जीएसटी, यही सारे टॉपिक्स, मेक इन इंडिया, डिजिटल इंडिया, यही सारे टॉपिक्स मुझे देखने को मिलते हैं. सब इन्हीं पे ही बनाते रहते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि सब कुछ ये लोग कॉपी कर लेते हैं इंटरनेट से. वी रियली, एंड नाउ डेज proper project work is uploaded on the internet. They simply download it and they simply copy it, right? So instead of choosing those fancy big projects where students are just copying it, let's do some real research work, right? And for that, let's take help from the NCERT textbook. How? Let's see. So we have this topic on Indian economy on the eve. See, I have taken only Indian economy textbook. You can also take help from macro. Since our term 1 includes most of the chapters from Indian economy, I have taken that. So Indian economy on the eve of independence, if you go to page number 9, right, and if you go to this work these out section, page number 9, I've opened my textbook. There is this box on page number 9, Indian economy on the eve of independence, NCERT textbooks. See, it is written that collect information from the economic survey for various years published by the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, on various items of export from India and its import. Compare these with imports and export from the pre-independence era, right? So what this work this out activity is suggesting that आप economic survey पे जाइए, वहाँ पे pre-independence period पे आपको कुछ data मिलेगा जिसमें हम कौन से goods export करते थे, import करते थे, वो सारी चीज़ें हैं. फिर आप post-independence era में जाइए कि अब हम कौन से goods export करते हैं और import करते हैं, फिर आप उसमें comparison करिए. ये भी एक प्रोजेक्ट वर्क की चीज़ है. आप एक्चुअल एनालिसिस कर रहे हो इसके ऊपर, राइट? सिमिलरली इफ़ आई टॉक अबाउट सेकेंड थिंग, से इंडियन इकोनॉमी 1950-1990, इफ़ यू विल गो टू पेज नंबर 28 ऑफ योर NCERT, you look at the work these out section. I'll read that section. A group of students may visit an agricultural farm, prepare a case study on the method of farming used, that is types of seeds, fertilizers, manufacturing. So the NCERT textbook is giving you a lot of activities. कह रहे हैं कि आप एक एग्रीकल्चर फार्म में जाओ, केस स्टडी प्रिपेयर करो, बात करो फार्मर से कि कौन से सीड्स वो यूज़ करते हैं, कौन सी मशीनरी यूज़ करते हैं. तो ये भी एक प्रोजेक्ट हो सकता है केस स्टडी का. क्यों इतने फैंसी प्रोजेक्ट्स पे जाने, अपने लोकल एरियाज़ में ही हम इश्यूज़ उठा सकते हैं और सर्वे कर सकते हैं. दैट इज़ वॉट इज़ रियल रिसर्च इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट कॉपिंग फ्रॉम द इंटरनेट, right? Similarly, I have mentioned few sources. Say for example in poverty, if you go to page number 80 of work these out section, you'll also find a similar activity which you can include in the project work. Similarly employment, similarly infrastructure, similarly liberalization, you can even check these out. So what is the tip? That you take up a local level issue and confine most of the students research in their locality only. This will actually help, and उनको भी मज़ा आएगा पढ़ने में. उनको लगेगा कि ठीक है, हमने जो क्लासरूम में पढ़ा है उसका एक्चुअली कोई रेलेवेंस है, हम एक्चुअली प्रैक्टिकली उसके ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं. तो इन्हीं चीज़ों को मैंने पहले स्टूडेंट्स के साथ डिस्कस किया, फिर स्टूडेंट्स ने मुझसे डिस्कस किया, और प्रॉब्लम्स आई हैं बहुत, बिकॉज स्टूडेंट्स को अभी नहीं पता कि कैसे टाइटरल फ्रेम होता है, राइट? एंड उसमें आपको उनकी हेल्प करनी पड़ेगी. जैसे ये जो इंडियाज़ फॉरेन ट्रेड प्री एंड पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस है, ये यहीं से निकला है, जो मैंने आपको बताया ना इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में NCERT वर्क दिस आउट का, कि प्री इंडिपेंडेंस एरा में क्या एक्सपोर्ट इम्पोर्ट हुआ, ये वहीं से निकला. देन कैलकुलेटिंग द नंबर ऑफ पुअर एंड डिंजान टी स्टेट. सिंस आई एम टीचिंग इन असम, सो सब लोगों ने अपने लोकेलिटी से रिलेटेड ही प्रोजेक्ट्स उठाए हैं. So this inspiration is also from NCERT textbook, right? And then case study of small agricultural farm in Dibrugarh Assam, जो अभी हमने पढ़ा, case study, visit an agriculture farm, prepare a case study, इसका इंस्पिरेशन यहाँ से आया. ऑलमोस्ट सबका इंस्पिरेशन NCERT टेक्स्ट बुक से आया. इससे क्या होगा, हम रिलेट कर पाएंगे अपने चैप्टर्स को टू द रियल लाइफ वर्ल्ड, एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ द रियल पर्पस ऑफ आवर project work, right? And this is the appendix. I have made certain blogs. You can visit any of these. This is my Google Classroom, and this is my YouTube channel. This is one of the poster which I made for NEP 2020, and you'll see that in this blog you'll find a lot of informative things for joyful learning for students only, and for Google Classroom you'll find how I have put up separate folders for students, and I have my YouTube channel also. I'm not doing any kind of publicity, but yes, this is for your own use if you want to use it. Thank you so much everybody. Thanks a lot.